It can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. I'm reaching for something out of line. I keep getting closer, only to have it all ripped away. There is something in my body deep down, and I'm hoping that it won't stay. 'Cause I'm a monster, blood on my hands, sharp teeth, and I wanna be free. And so you better not make me mad, or I'll hunt you down. I will never let you go or escape me. Please don't leave me, it will kill me. I don't wanna be alone, and so I'll follow you home. I guess that I'm not good on my own. Come with me, come with me. I wanna take you home now. Come with me, come with me. No one else will know what I've done. Oh, what have I done? Tears cleaning up the blood. Come to me, come to me. What have we got? 3, 2, 1, can't keep going on. Day and night, wanna see you run. Moon and sun, hiding in the darkness, my safe place. There is something in my body, and I'm letting it lead the way. Come, come, come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come, come, come with me. I think this is a felony. You got me captivated. I'll take every part of you. Come, come, come with me. The monster in me needs to feed. Come, come. Come, come. My lips are tasting your blood, red. One hit is never enough, more I bet. I'm the fire on your flesh. Try to stop me, you're next, and I won't stop. Another drop. Come, come, come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come, come, come with me. I think this is a felony. You got me captivated. I'll take every part of you. Come, come, come with me. The monster in me needs to feed. I can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. 시간의 수 어둠 속에 눈을 감아도 날카롭게 파고드는 고통의 조각 퍼즐 멈춰버린 내 그림자 긴 절망 한숨 속에서 살아가고 있지만 내게 주어진 삶을 계속 살아가 반복과 실현 속에서 살아가고 있는 지금 내게 필요한 건 오직 너뿐이야.
그때의 너와 내가 그리워 찾아보지만 무지 시간 속 닳고 달아진 지금 우리와 마주할 뿐 흘러가고 있는 지금은 살아남아야 해.
귀를 막아도 또 막아도 자꾸 들려오는 선명한 네 목소리 두근두근 뛰는 가슴 너의 손을 힘껏 잡아도 슬금슬금 올라오는 나의 아픔 멈춰버린 시계바늘 긴 절망 한숨 속에서 살아가고 있지만 내게 주어진 삶을 계속 살아가 반복과 실현 속에서 살아가고 있는 지금 내게 필요한 건 오직 너뿐이야. 짙은 어둠 속을 헤매고 있어 난 거짓과 위선들로 가득해버린 이 세상은 외로운 나 홀로 걸어도 또 걸어도 자꾸 돌아오는 쳇바퀴 같은 여긴 조여오는 시간의 수
알 수 없는 하루하루 두려움이 슬금슬금 선명해져버린 아픔 주어진 삶을 살아가 세상 속 빛을 따라가 멈춰버린 시계바늘 오늘 넌 알고
긴 절망 한숨 속에서 살아가고 있지만 내게 주어진 삶을 계속 살아가 반복과 실현 속에서 살아가고 있는 지금 내게 필요한 건 오직 너뿐이야. I can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. I'm reaching for something out of line. I keep getting closer. Only to have it all ripped away. There is something in my body deep down, and I'm hoping that it won't stay. 'Cause I'm a monster, blood on my hands, sharp teeth, and I wanna be free. And so you better not make me mad, or I'll hunt you down. I will never let you go or escape me. Please don't leave me, it will kill me. I don't wanna be alone, and so I'll follow you home. I guess that I'm not good on my own. Come with me, come with me. I wanna take you home now. Come with me, come with me. No one else will know what I've done. Oh, what have I done? Tears cleaning up the blood. Come to me, come to me. What have I become? 3, 2, 1, can't keep going on. Day and night, wanna see you run. Moon and sun, hiding in the darkness, my safe place. There is something in my body, and I'm letting it lead the way. Come, come, come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come, come, come with bloodshed. One hit is never enough. More are dead. I'm a fire on your flesh. Try to stop me, you're next, and I won't stop. Another drop. Come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come with me. I think this is a felony. You got me captivated. I'll take every part of you. Come with me. The monster in me needs to feed. I can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong.
Hello. Good morning, everyone, from here at Nimble Neuron HQ. I'm with Director Wolf One here today. 소개 부탁드립니다.
Nice to meet you. I'm Wolf Wong, the director of Eternal Return. Thank you so much for playing Eternal Return.
Today we'll be hosting DevStream 1.0 to discuss changes that are coming soon for the game. Thank you for spending your precious time with us today. It's been raining a lot in Korea these days, but we hope it's better for you guys weather-wise, and we'll get right into it. Official launch is coming soon, and we shared with you guys some of the upcoming changes in our dev journals throughout the season. We've already hit 14 journals. That's a lot. For players that are curious why the journals are so split, the reason is because development is still ongoing, especially in visual aspects. We're still polishing the changes, and we want to show you guys visual samples instead of just a long Word document, which can be hard to read at points. We realize that not everyone is keeping up to date with the dev journals, so for the sake of keeping folks up to date, as well as remind everyone, let's review the dev journals so far. We'll also talk a bit about informations we couldn't include in the journals, so I'll try to keep it compact. The first dev journal was the dev journal announcement. The image you guys have probably seen quite a lot beforehand. We'll visit back to it, as the image has been a core idea in our preparation for launch. We also showed a rough preview of the lobby screen with an older illustration of Cicella and Jackie. We'll be updating this key art on launch as well. The second journal started sharing information regarding the zone constructions of Lumia Island, such as the big opening and factory. The yellow marks in the minimap are the newly edited zones. Through this operation, Lumia Island is becoming 15% larger. Players will be able to move around the map a lot more freely, which should have been like so in the first place. The third one was Campfire. During our playtest, we found out that it actually changed a lot about the game. The biggest one was that players would be excited and curious about what kind of food they can cook. But the more we playtested and got used to it, it slowly got rid of the need to memorize food crafting in the first place. And it also changed the pace of the game. We also wanted to play on the emotion aspect of video games, which we'll talk a little bit later, but the campfires really helped set up the tone of nighttime in the game as well. The next journal was regarding wild animals. We wanted to make PvE part of the game a bit more interesting than it is now, while adding more rhythmic patterns in game. Sorry, that's hard to pronounce. My English has been getting worse since I've been in Korea for a whole year. The biggest one so far has felt like being able to slay wild bats to gain vision control of a zone. Players can make sure to kill bats in specific areas if they want to kill, or if they really want to get some vision. Wild animal herds is also a great way to get credits, and collectibles are now 2 parts, and they save your progress at half. This should really help with some of the unpleasant experiences fighting around objectives. The fifth journal was regarding characters, where we showed some of the first few character changes. There were a lot of character changes regarding the characters in Eternal Return. So we suggest viewers to read the journals regarding it, and you can find it on our homepage if you want. But keeping it blunt, I will be moving away from the usual right clicker that we know her as, and her ultimate is now getting changed to have a fear. Magnus is also getting new mechanism overhaul, and his bike will accelerate over time. And as a person that's played against it, it's pretty fast. Rio's ultimate is now global. Adri's changes to her crowd controls will be addressed a bit more later. We also talked about Hejin, Adela, Cicella, Isol, and Adina. Another important part was transparency work. Gameplay at the moment can be a bit hard to see due to the visual effects covering much of the screen. We're going to be editing some of the visual effects so players can understand what's going on in their screen, including some fixes to the transparency, such as right here. We continue to talk about the Lumia Island rework and why we're reconstructing the areas in the first place. And we discussed about the difference between IOU shapes and the TA shapes. An example of it was Chapel, where you had limitations in the zones, where you only had really one choke to get into Chapel from factory, but with the new map changes, there's more openings for players to actually enter new zones. And the 7th journal gained a lot of attention. Not all good, but due to the additions of active skills, or as the proper name, tactical skills. The changes acted as a way to control credits in the first place, where players have to use credits to activate and upgrade their skills. But, that part got progressed as we went on, and we wanted to diversify how the first night is played, hunts with credits, going to campfires to cook, or taking earlier fights to gain weapon skills, so the gameplay is not as linear. While we keep saying we'll talk more about it later today, we'll talk more about it later today. Save plans along with Operator Naja is one of the most important changes, especially for the non-Korean regions, as they help a lot with entry barrier for new players. We want to make sure newer players can drop into the game and understand what's going on. Large amount of feedback from newer players regarding how UI is inconsistent with how people normally read from left to right, so we made the adjustment to the screen. The final changes to Lumia Island was Pond, including a jump pad. At the moment, Pond shares that O-shape that we previously discussed and have one of the roughest times for players to move around. You know those moments when you spawn at the bridge and you have to walk all the way around for the loot distribution? We're going to be adjusting it by opening up Pond as well as adding a jump pad. The jump pad animation is a bit awkward, we know. We thought of using a zipline, which would be a bit more natural, but sadly, that would require an animation change for every single character. So, for now, we're going to be going with the jump pad animation. The next character journal discussed Lida losing her silence but gaining damage reduction, which should help against skill-based characters. We also addressed Piolos and cooldown and how it works. Characters such as Luke and Hart that have evolutions have now become a bit more distinctive. And in a similar note, Ekyan also has more distinctive weapons for each choice. Zahir, Celine, Chloe, Bianca, Eva, and Nadine changes were also addressed. I know that's a long list, so if your character was mentioned in the list, we once again recommend checking out the dev journals in our homepage. Celine was hit with a pretty big change, and we do apologize for changing the character to such a large extent, but we hope you guys can understand that it's for the safety of other players as well as the safety kits. Another dev journal that was shown was regarding the rank system. The biggest part is you can see real time of what your score looks like. The escape system also changes along with the new rank, and escaping no longer guarantees you positive LP. Instead, it just gives you a bit of bonus LP to what you have already. So if your points are in the negative and you escape, you might still get minus points. And this rank system is changing something to a point system where you have to actually commit an entry fee and you get more higher credits or higher points depending on how you perform. Crafting and mastery was also addressed, and through the new VPad UI, players can see their mastery and credits all at once. While B can still be used for older players that are used to it, we wanted to make it easier access to information in just one tab for our newer players. The left side of the VPad is about tactical and weapon skills, along with mastery, and the right is about crafting and the build. Skill lamp changes caused one of the biggest chaos return and caused a lot of new problems, especially regarding lost access of varied abilities for equipment, especially through corpses and loot boxes. So we're going to be addressing some of that, including selective stats from items in supply boxes, and you will now get bounties from courses instead of just items. Not only that, transitioning to legendary item is more self-explanatory now, because the VPad actually suggests items that you can go once you complete purple items. We also talked a bit about how credits are getting reconstructed and revamped, and now you'll be getting more money for every action that you do, or sometimes you don't even have to do an action. And they have barely any cooldown, so you don't have to wait a long time after your teammate used it. In fact, we're actually increasing the amount of transfer consoles as well. Actually, not only that, we're also changing the name, because the name transfer console, what are we even transferring? So we're going to be changing it to kiosk. Teams can also now buy teammate resurrections starting day 3, or buy root kits as well. And Operator Naja. Let's be real. ER is not an easy game, but it's doable if you have friends backseating you on what to do. While your friend might get upset that you're not playing the way that they expect you to, it still helps a lot. So what Naja will do is be that friend for you and suggest 3 viable ways that you can proceed with the game. And not only that, Naja can be adjusted and customized for more experienced players who don't need all the nagging and all the help. And we're not done yet, and here's the list for future development journals. Characters next part will be out later today for you guys, but we're going to share a bit of the information today. Camera and traps won't be an overly large change like food and campfire was. Briefing room, forging, and victory poses will give you a bit of a tease today. After Character 4 update, we'll give you guys more description of Frame Report that's coming for official launch. I know the English community is really worried about optimization, but you guys will have to wait a bit. We've been having great success with increasing frames, but we want to make sure we can have it even smoother for you guys. And for special, we'll give you guys a tease at the end. Or around the end, not totally the end, but yeah. Now, as we slowly approach official launch, we're aware our players are getting excited, but also worried about the future changes. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about some of the changes from the translated dev streams from Korea already. Today we'll try our best to deliver you guys our direction and how we've been preparing for launch date. One of the biggest worries so far seems to be regarding how big the changes are. Players aren't sure if they should be expecting something similar to their previous years of experiences. They're worried that there might not be enough testing, and some are worried that return they know might be disappearing. Many players raised objections to the upcoming changes, wishing for smaller changes rather than bigger adjustments. So we're here today to explain why we made our choices. Many of the player feedbacks regarding construction, campfires, and rank systems were fairly positive. On the flip side, tactical skills, wild animal herds, and character skill changes have raised quite a bit of alarm among players. In fact, people may have even raised the question of, is this direction correct? As a fan of Eternal Return, I can see where players are coming from. But let us really quick add another part to this question. When looking at the features from a soloist perspective, these changes are very alarming. But when looking from a squad perspective, what do you guys think? Do the changes connect just a little bit more? This problem is something that's been problematic for Eternal Return for a while. Solo and team modes in general are just different games. While sharing the same map and characters, they don't behave the same way. The systems they need are different. As we try to compensate for both modes, the game keeps becoming more and more unstable regarding gameplay. Escape system is a good example. In solos, the system is fairly lost, but in team modes where teammates can be taken out first, getting away from the island is sometimes needed. So in the end, we finally decided to treat the two modes differently. But as discussed in the first dev journal, our situation isn't the best at the moment. Around 6 months ago, we sat at this exact same table to talk about the changes that may come. And we were deadly scared that the season 9 may have a player drop to around 1,000 to 2,000 player base. But you guys stuck with us, and we're super thankful for that. And this topic is a bit more grim, but we're sure a lot of our viewers here today have already heard multiple stories of struggling companies, especially in the video game industry. And we're no exception. Similar to them, we're struggling as a low profit video game at the moment. Even though we're lacking, the reason our investors stuck with us is because they also wanted to create a fun game that can be loved by our players. These players have done such an amazing thing with ER, including the endless events and creating communities that we would have never thought possible before. However, as the environment gets rougher, blind investment is just not feasible for investing companies. We were even carefully recommended to consider shutting the servers down at one point. After a long briefing this session and discussion, we told them our plan of the future, as well as how the game will advance going forwards. While investors agreed to a lot of the points, naturally, they weren't sold on every point. Unfortunately, the current iteration of the game cannot survive. Unless we take a bigger leap, such as a new game, Eternal Return 2, the system we have right now is not sustainable. The conclusion of the discussion was a limited time frame where we could prove ourselves with an upgraded Eternal Return, focused on squads. The investors would have to wait a much longer time if they were to give us time prepared for all 4 modes. They wanted us to try again, but with the 2 modes that generated the most player base, Squad and Cobalt. After proving that the game can be continued, we are likely to get the green light to reopen duos and solos. But at the moment, the situation doesn't give us many options. So players may be asking, why Squad? First reason is fairly simple. At the moment, Squad has a large slice of the population. Also, a well-developed Squad game has more potential over solos as well. This idea isn't new, and was an advice not only told by our investors, but also by other large game companies that we talked to, including Microsoft and Tencent. We get that many players are a fan of getting to be their own team, and many players are attracted to the solo aspect. I myself have been for the longest time as well. A lot of veteran players that have fully developed their understanding of the game may feel the same. We don't have to consider for a teammate who may know less about the game, and it can be a freeing experience. But on the other side, there are new players who are really anxious trying to learn the game, and a lot of them end up giving up. As we focused on solos for the last 3 years, we suffer from major cons such as matchups, only having 1 life, and low retention rate. When asked about solutions for these problems, replying with an answer was fairly close to impossible. As a result, we will be temporarily locking solos and duos on official launch. And we're terribly sorry for the bad news. No matter what we say, we realize the news is heartbreaking for many. So we wanted to make sure players could know what was happening and why it was happening. In the end, the biggest reason was our failure as a game company to bring results, and we're once again very sorry. Our investors gave us time, and without their patience, the end of service would have already happened. And all of this is our perspective as a business and company. The fact remains that players cannot play a mode that they enjoyed for some time after launch. We wish we had ways to elevate the feeling that many players got when they first heard the news that solos and duos won't be open on launch date. We'll be trying our hardest so these modes can come back in even better shape. And we apologize again for the bad news. Please understand that we do love solos. It's how many of us started the game, let alone how Eternal Return started as a game. There's something about solos being the last one standing against other players that feel really satisfying, knowing that I put myself in the victory seat without the help of a teammate. I especially enjoyed learning the different matchups and characters, so much to the point where I would stay up endless nights to play the game and watch streams. I would pull up old Skaz videos, Tom Sorcerer videos about characters that I had no interest in playing just to see how they worked. And it got so bad that I got college advisors calling me and emailing me about my grade. And it's not just me. You guys may have rank bots created by amazing members of the community now, but in the earlier days, we didn't have that. The director that's sitting right beside me, Wolf1, would be in the Discord on an account named Qbot and reply to players who asked how many players were in queue or in matches. He was named Qbot, but it was actually just him replying himself. So please do understand that we love solos. It's where we come from. However, solos and squad are just not the same game. The difference is as big as Lumia Island and Cobalt. Even character skills required for each mode is different. And it's very rare that a skill kit built for team modes or skill kits built around for solos are healthy in their non-specific areas. That's why we want to retry with solos, but with bigger efforts put into fixing a lot of the plaguing issues. While separate character kits may not be intuitive, we won't be expecting newer players to focus on both modes at first. We want to make sure solos is there for high rank competitive mode for experienced players. And I know it may sound like a broken record, but we apologize once again. And we'll have to prove ourselves through our squad first to gain another opportunity. In this situation, we're funneling our mode options. So what will ER 1.0 be about? While the situation is challenging, we still hold on to our beliefs that the potential of the game is there. The image, once again, is the core idea of what we're preparing for launch. So let's get into it now. So let's talk about how new games are developed in the first place. The first step is a core idea, a fresh concept. It doesn't always have to be a full game. A lot of the times, it's a mod, sandbox, or an in the community built game. And you can see some examples here, especially including Roblox, some of the game that you guys really love. But these games have one thing in common, and it's they have really good groundwork and potential. Step 2 is stacking depth. In step 1, these games gain traction and they get a player base. And these fans pitch in ideas for these games to keep developing the game. And at this point, and at this step, it's a bit confusing because there may be 10 player base or 10 fans, and they may say 10 different ideas and 10 different directions they want the game to go in. And for now, in this step 2, the best way to proceed is try everything. Just swiftly try everything, get the feedbacks, and start building depth. The final step is organize. Now that we got the Lego blocks, we actually have to put the Lego blocks in the right place to build a Lego house. And it's arranging ideas used to stack depth and to make a developed game. Here are some of the examples that Wolf 1 has prepared. Sadly, my taste in game is very different from Wolf 1's, and the bottom games I am not fully familiar with, but let me talk about the games that I am familiar with, which is Arma. There's a mod in Arma that has a battle royale, and it wasn't even that popular, but that spurned H1Z1, which I'm sure you guys have heard before. And H1Z1 went through trials and trials, and eventually PUBG was able to organize the formula to a more polished game. Another example is StarCraft XX Random Defense that became Auto Chess, and that game is now part of TFT, Teamfight Tactics, another game that you guys love. Game development can't be generalized, and many games end on the first and second step. But we just wanted to show you guys that there are cases of games stacking depth through player experiences to create solid base. And once successful, those games become one of these genres. So, which step is ER at right now? While we're inspired by multiple games, our core concept is raw and new. Our large player base at the start may have blurred the steps at the first, but we know that no matter the number of players at the start, it was just the proof of potential of our core idea. Our game still needed more depth and way more trials for us to proceed to step 3. Many games have spent around 5 years in step 2, and we've gone through a long time in step 2 as well. We've had 80 major updates, and we had days of trials, we've had days of failures, and we've had some painful days, as you guys may know as players. But now we finally have stacked enough trials that we have the Lego steps to build a Lego house. So you guys might be wondering, why not just build a completely separate game? Well, the biggest concern and the reason is the character-based focus aspect of it. An example of a game that has used their previous IP and characters for their second game is Overwatch. The first part is that development resource to create one character is intense and immense. But MOBA especially needs charming and attractive characters for the game to be entertaining. Originally, we thought of naming the launch ER2, but the name, has some connotations. So now that we finally have enough Lego blocks, we're going to pick them up from the floor before it's too late and we step on them. And we're going to build the Lego house that we've been working on so hard for before. So let's dig in to ER 1.0. One of the biggest changes to ER 1.0 is that we're going to have 24 player lobbies instead of 6. There's multiple reasons for it. One, you can't be a battle royale and only have 6 teams. And one of the most feedbacks that we got was that Dio was the most well-balanced modes in that it had enough players while having teamwork aspects of it as well. So we're going to match that through squads. And now that we have enough space on Lumia Island through construction, it's going to be great. Another issue that we had with 6 teams was that if one team was strong enough, the chance that you would have to fight the overfed teams was way too high. And if 2 teams got eliminated, you would only have 4 or 3 teams playing for the rest of the game. But there is one issue and one concern that I'm sure you guys have, which is optimization. But we'll talk about it a bit more in Frame Report. But I can guarantee you that our Frame Report so far in the 24-man lobby has been better than the 18-man squads that we have right now. So we have a lot of Lego pieces, and we're going to connect them to a flowing gameplay. With the new systems, we can finally have a fulfilling gameplay flow. So we originally had collectibles, objectives, and final zones that were the main center of the game. And we stacked these Legos up without placing them well to see where they place up. And we had box opening games, we had objective centered gameplay, and we have the final zones. And we've had credits, but transitions are hard to learn, let alone shredding items for credits. Not a lot of new players actually even know about the concept, let alone food recipes. So let's talk about how we're going to connect the gameplay to be a lot more intuitive. The first one is we're going to be making campfires. At the moment, making food, as seen in the garlic ramen, you have to memorize these recipes to actually make meaningful food. But we're going to get rid of that, or not rid of it, but we're going to be revamping some of it to include campfires. So if a player doesn't know a hard recipe, they can go to a campfire and just cook. We're going to be working on objectives to be more simpler. So you can get the previous objectives that we have at the moment, but you can get it from battle zones as well. And you can also get purple boxes, which have guaranteed RNG materials now. And now we have the V-pad, so crafting is more intuitive and players can actually learn fast enough and simple enough and see all of it in one screen. Not only that, they can also know which transitions to go to through the V-pad once they complete their purple items. And we also have the kiosk to have their everything that you need, from reviving your teammates to gathering or calling for materials. And we've also reworked some of the item issues that we've had previously to bounties. Another way we've been connecting gameplay is spatial design, which we talked about in IOU, where moving around the map is a lot harder. And we moved it to become a tier A, where there's more openings. And in maps or zones that have been more difficult to reconstruct, we've added jump pad. And these are some of the good examples that we have of new spatial design. So in Beach here, we've only had really 2 chokes, but if the fight broke out here, you didn't really have any choice, and farming here would be a pain. Sometimes you would even have to go inside the box here to fight or farm or collect the flowers, but now you have actual space to move around Lumia Island. Another way we're connecting gameplay is not even in the game, but it's between the games. So the first one is before loading into the game, how the screen looks. And now we'll have briefing room. So players that have loaded in but are still waiting for the others have a place to practice and wait. And we're also going to be having forging, which we'll talk a bit more in the dev journal, so wait for that. But you know how a lot of the season pass skins or skins that you have missed out previously, and there's no real waste of getting them? Through loot crates, you'll be able to get a chance to actually get these skins. And you'll be able to get a lot of these boxes for free. While there are paying options, players can actually get the boxes and keys just from playing the game. But Cadet will not be included. And we also have the new rank system coming up. And we also have Operator Nausea for better gameplay. That shows you all the viable options, or 3 viable options at the moment. And if you follow them, you're not going to be making any big mistakes, and you can just pick the most fun sounding option. And here's how Nausea sounds at the moment. We have the Korean voice that you guys can listen to for now.
오, 특별한 재료잖아. 아이템 하나 추천할 테니 만들어 볼래?
So she'll pop up on the right top of your screen like this, and she'll talk to you. one thing that we found is really important in gameplay is emotion. And I say emotion, but I like to think of it more like a vibe, you know? So the yellow point here is when you start really enjoying the game. So there's the entry floor for players, and you have to learn the game. And some players are better with it. Some players are, they have friends that tell them, oh, once you learn the game, it'll be more fun. And they can kind of, growl through the process until they hit the point. Or players that are, very talented, they can actually learn the game faster than most people. But one part that's really important about hitting the point isn't just the entry floor, but it's actually the blue part, the fun part of the game. If the game is more fun, people can hit this point a bit faster. So, one of the emotion is campfire. We wanted to create some rest time, and we wanted to create a scene where players can actually just kind of get there with their teammates, cook some food. And once they get up and dust their knees, they say, all right, it's time to work. And it's time to cook. Players can actually, come and find out what kind of food they can cook. We've had instances where players are, during the playtest, wanted to see what kind of food they can cook. So they brought ramen with chocolate. And not only that, the nighttime is highlighted with the glowing bright fire. Briefing room is also similar in creating vibes and emotions. It's a place for players to load it early. And usually loading time that's really long at the moment, especially in NA. Players are suffering from really long loading time. But now you guys actually have a place to be if you loaded in before the other players. And not only that, players that have loaded in can now be in the briefing room, and it's a sign of a spectator. And while we're not really, very expensive on the lore yet, it's like a sign. It's kind of like a hint for all our players. And once everyone loads in, people will start leaving the briefing room, and then you'll go right into Lumia Island. Another emotion is the rank system. So let's be real. Who plays ranked to actually know where they place in the game? We play to see the number go up. And that's part of it. Now that you can see the number go up or down in game, it actually activates this feeling inside you, this emotion inside you, where if you're -1, -3, you just keep thinking, oh, I only need one more. I only need one more kill, and I can go positive. Another emotion that we're playing on is victory poses. I'll let you guys sit on this for a bit while I get some water. Meet Devian Marlene. This is one of example of the victory poses that we're going to have in the game. Not only that, we're going to have different victory poses depending on the skin as well. Now, we realize not everyone is as talented as me, and you guys won't be winning as many games, so you guys won't be seeing this. But we hope this drives you guys as another motive to win a game. We'll talk about victory poses more down the road. But with more fun, players can actually hit the point that we talked about previously a bit faster. We want to hit approachability with emotion, and that's how we're going to finish organizing the game. Another part is character fantasy. So when we released the dev journal, my bad. A lot of people were focused on the fact that we're controlling the amount of utility in a character. But that's one way to put it. But the better way of putting it is that we're strengthening character fantasy. So let's be real. A character must have weakness. But in solos, having one weakness can be really brutal. So we were unable to have a lot of characters that would be really good in multiple aspects. And we'll give you an example of it a bit later, but we've had to control the character's power through unnatural percent changes for team modes, especially for ranged characters. Now that we can focus more on team play, players can also focus on enemy weakness or make a composition to elevate their own team's weakness. And here we go. Adriana. Now, she was a hot topic for a while. She's getting her ground removed, her knockback removed, but she's going to be getting additional features such as damage over time, and overall she will be getting more damage, and she'll be having an easier time dealing damage. And I know you guys are struggling, but I personally tried out Adriana quite a bit in the playtest, and she's actually become one of my favorite characters to play. Because let's admit it, 80% damage done in a game mode is not healthy. That's not how this character was meant to be played. The character was meant to be a pyromaniac, a mage that sets the battleground on fire, not someone that's just used for CC as a support. So we really wanted to add on to the character fantasy of a battle mage that has a lot of AoE. And that's what we were able to do. We were able to get rid of the percentage that was, keeping Adriana in shackles. Another thing that we had a lot of feedback on was tactical skills. And the thing is, it wasn't made for esports highlight. We will never make core gameplay changes just for tournaments. But it's for individual highlights. It's for highlights where you right before you go to bed, you think about it. You think about the cool things that you did. Or, it's so cool that you're at your funeral and you're watching yourself, and everyone's just watching the replay of amazing gameplays that you've done, because that's what they do at funerals, right? Originally, tactical skills was to control credits, but the more we played and play tested, it's actually been quite fun. And when I originally heard that Blink was coming out, I was fairly upset. I was like, Flash and Eternal Return? No. But the more I play tested it, it's been really refreshing. And it's been really exciting for the game. So I hope you guys give it a try. Another issue with tactical skills that a lot of players found out with was in solos, it's really problematic, especially how Flash would work. How Blink would work in solos. But in squad, tactical skills make more sense. For example, one of the tactical skills is stasis. In solos, stasis is really great for waiting out your own cooldown, and you almost have no DPS loss. But in squad, if you use stasis, then you're losing out DPS from your overall squad, and your squad can actually get hit by your opponents. So, let's also talk a bit more about Characters 3 that we told you guys that we'll talk about. Let me get closer to the screen. So, a lot of discussion happened also about characters that have been overly simple. So we'll be adding some aspects to simpler characters like Jackie, especially characters that weren't so fitting for the team mode's gameplay. Sadly, Jackie's craziness is not settled by killing wild animals anymore, but she will be getting her ultimate duration longer from slaying enemies. And her Q will no longer stun herself for a bit or root herself for a bit. She'll actually be able to use Q in a lot more smoother fashion. And if she eliminates an enemy, she can also have her E, her mobility, cooldown reset. Another one is Kiara. We'll be moving Kiara's Q to be more shotgun based instead of a fusion between ranged and a short shotgun. And it'll be more rewarding to hit it up close because the more Qs you hit, the more damage it'll do. Not only that, your W will actually scale on how much HP you lost. We may have overcommitted to getting a good clip for you guys, so you guys get the point. We realize the shield is kind of immense, but you guys get the idea. And while Jackie can actually get her E reset from assists, Kiara will only work on actual eliminations on finishes from her ultimate, but she'll also be getting her R reset. Another character that you guys love is Shukai. Bundagi. Sorry. This Q will now actually have a area effect after landing. His E will now have his original E, but also have his W as a second cast. Now, you guys might be wondering, then what skill does he get for his W? Well, now he can actually give food for his teammates. And this is one part where we don't have a clip for it, but Shukai is kind of weird for new players. Because if you want to really use Shukai efficiently, you need to cook. And you need to cook well so you can get extended range on ultimate, extended waves on ultimate, and all that kind of jazz. But now, Shukai will simply get more HP so he can focus on being the tank that he really is. More simpler changes are to Daniel and Eleven. These characters have been awkward, especially with how they were made and how they had to interact with solos. Daniel being an assassin is kind of weird in a squads format. So we actually added a utility for him that isn't just CC, but a cool way is when he casts W on an enemy, the enemy actually cannot see vision from his teammates. Now 11 no longer gets supercharged abilities from using her R. So she can't simply use ultimate into an instant AoE taunt or instant jump, but she will heal over time during the duration, and she'll start dropping burgers all over the place. And if she steps on the burgers or her teammates step on the burger, they'll heal pretty significantly. So once again, we want to focus on character fantasy. It's not about less gimmicks, but it's also not about new tools. It's about tools that are more fitting for the characters. And sometimes damage is one of the strongest tools. And that's something that we couldn't give to ranged characters or some characters in squad because of how their kit interacted in solos and squad. Now, characters can have their more centered team play position, which will strengthen their character fantasy. And what we mean is, in video games, when you talk with your friends, you can talk stuff about like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play 11, I'm gonna use my ultimate to go win, I'm gonna heal every one of my teammates, and Shukai is gonna heal my teammate as well, while I'm Adriana and I'm gonna be damaging the opponents. And that kind of discussion is what we really want with these changes to 11, Shukai, and all these characters. But yes, we know in previous dev streams we talked about not wanting to do reworks, but we will do future reworks if we believe that it's fitting for the character fantasy in the future. And we still have a lot of dev journals left. We have characters, camera, and we have characters where we discussed a bit earlier, camera and traps, which won't be as big of a change as food and campfires. And we'll have briefing room, and forging, which we talked about earlier. The ER pass we'll talk about soon. And victory poses we talked about a bit, but we'll show you guys a bit more later. We'll show you guys a bit more characters, and we'll show you guys the frame report, and we'll show you guys the special once it's finished as well. Now, I'm sure you guys are really worried about all the big changes at once, because it's basically almost a new release. We are at step 3. We're going to make sure that we get better playtests. Starting next week, we're going to be having playtests with only mid-roll plus testers. And even, let's be real, when there's a new game or there's a big update, there's bound to be some problems, and we apologize for that. But now that we are focused on Squad, the game itself is a smaller scale, so we can actually address these issues a bit faster. And I'm sure you guys are also wondering about marketing at launch. So marketing for a PC game is kind of weird. There's a lot of ways to approach it. And for influencers, we mean like celebrities. And there's supposed to be an X here, but it kind of got cut out in the design process. Apologies about that. But for a mobile game, marketing is fairly simple. Players can see it, or viewers can see it, and they can check it out. You know, they can always have their phone and approach it. But for return, once they see an ad, they have to log on to their Steam. Sometimes they have to go through Steam Guard, and they have to download the game, and then they have to try out the game. And they have to be at home or have access to a PC. So that itself is very different from how mobile games are actually advertised. And that's why, for a lot of times, mobile games are most of the advertisements you see. But we're approaching marketing in multiple ways for streamers, PC cafes in Korea, esports, and offline events. And we'll be doing this for all regions, non-Korean regions as well. And another way we approach marketing, and other games have approached marketing, is trailers. So let me show you guys an Eternal Return trailer. This is not what we had in mind. Sadly, the first try we had with the gameplay trailer was not the most successful. It was actually quite expensive, and it was a really famous studio, but it wasn't really able to grasp the theme and what kind of game we were. And it was rough, but we wanted to try again. So we're going to show you a really rough sketch of what's coming up soon. I don't know if you guys saw at the bottom here. I'll play one more time for you guys. But this was in collaboration with Studio Buri, which is the animation team for Epic 7. And this is just a short clip of the trailer that we're going to be preparing for you guys. And we'll be showing it to you guys throughout the preparation phase. Oh no. We are at crossroads at the moment. And trust us when I say we really love ER. We really do. I'll give you guys a few stories about our players. And we've had multi-immortal players. And I mean that they were immortal in all three modes. Until like the last few weeks when they slipped up, but they weren't even the one that got the most attention. Do you know why? We had a player that hit rank 201. They missed Immortal by one spot. So we always make fun of him. Another person that really loves Eternal Return that you guys know is me. I've been playing this game for the longest time. And you guys know how much I love the game. And we really want to see the game succeed. And Wolf1 talked about how he would love for an ER-like genre to be created. And don't worry, we won't forget the main base of Solo, and we'll come back to it eventually. And for that, thank you for always sticking with us. And we really mean this message more than ever. thank you so much for sticking with us. And I know not all of you guys are squad players, but no matter what mode you play or prefer, we hope you guys are able to give the game at least 10 games a try. Please take this code VACANS720 and just we're so sorry about all the things that we had to share with you guys today. There really is no words, but thank you guys always. Now you guys might be wondering why the code is named Vacants. And that's because we're going to talk about the ER pass, baby. We're going to talk about the Vacants pass. Vacants meaning holiday, by the way. The first skin pass is Emma. I'm sure you guys have seen this or seen some of you guys might have seen this on Twitter already, but you can see the seal and the seagull here. Really cool. Luke is also getting a skin from the pass. The next one is Mai. And the thing is, you can get this My Skin even if you don't buy the Battle Pass. And not only that, there's going to be a lot of other stuff included in the pass as well, such as icons and borders. So I hope you guys check it out. But yes, we'll go back to what you guys saw. Hayes is also getting a summer skin. Here's the season key art that we have prepared for you guys. This will be available as the game background once you complete, not complete, but once you level up your battle pass. And let's be real, we've had issues with player base, but we've also had major problems with the business sides and how we don't have that many items in the market. So we talked about how we can convince our players to buy our Eternal Return Pass. It has to be something irresistible. So we said, you know what? We're going to add more skins outside of the pass theme. So we're going to show you guys some of the skins right now. Here's the Adina skin that will be included in the pass. And for a change of colors, we also have a Kiara skin coming soon. You can get all of the stuff from the season pass. Are you still not gonna buy it? All right. Now that we talked a bit about the skins, let's talk about some of the new characters coming out. You guys have already seen Devian Marlene. In fact, she's already so popular that you guys have created emotes for her right here. I included in the right bottom. You guys have seen the victory pose for her as well. And you've already seen Orda as well, where we talked about his horrendous fashion sense with socks and sandals. But the next character that I'm going to show you is a character that you guys have not seen before, and it's Abigail, who uses a scythe to rip apart her enemies. Her gameplay is really cool, so I hope you guys are excited for her. The next one is Alonso. Someone that looks really, really different from a lot of the characters in our game, but he uses magnetic powers in his hands to fight his enemies. You can see that the concept artist also drew, a little bit of cute additions to the sheet. So you guys can check that out. And now we also have Lenny, who's nice to her teammates, but loves teasing her opponents. She actually has a lot more weapons in her concept sheet, but we don't want you guys to predict what kind of skills she has, so we kind of hit them. That's why there's an empty space in the bottom right. And we have Chibume. We have our first ninja character coming into Eternal Return. She was trained to be a killer from birth, from when she was young, but we hope you guys are excited for her as well. Now, it's not over. Let's talk about skins, but even better, because our skin quality is just going up and up every single season. Here's Pirate Lennox. Ahoy. And the next skin is something that I'm really excited for, and I'm sure you guys are. You guys can probably see it coming. It's the Leon skin. And he finally has a skin with Tonfa to represent his new weapon. And the highlight is this hamster becoming a lion right here. And we also have Felix skin coming out where he's a police and he has a long spear right here and it lights up. And we also have Sua skin coming out where her weapon is bread. Not only that, her book is also a menu now. Now we also have a Marcus skin coming out, where he looks so strong that he probably doesn't even need a weapon to beat his enemies, to be fair. We also have Carla skin coming out, very reminiscent of the Luke skin. And we also have an 11 skin coming out. And it seems like the skin team really loves, pastry. We've had Bretson, we've had Sua skin coming out, and now we have Sweet 11. I'm starting to get hungry. I actually have not eaten in a while. I did not have dinner nor breakfast. So that's where I'm going after this. And we also have a WM Marlene skin coming out to celebrate. These two, they don't get along personality-wise, but when they fight, they're a terrific combo. I hope you guys are looking forward to Debbie and Marlene. I've got to see some of her, and she's very exciting. We also have Bittersweet Laura, but I'm not sure what's so bitter about the skin. I only see sweet aspects of it. We also have Math Teacher Kathy, and you can see that her sword here is actually it has like a ruler. It actually has numbers to teach her students. We also have Vampire Shoichi. Looks like he should be taking the Omnivamp. We have Professor Arda, still rocking his sandals with socks. And you can see some spoiler for how his effects are going to look like on the right. So I hope you guys look forward to that as well, especially if you are a fan of Arda from our previous IP. And we also have an Abigail skin coming out to celebrate as well. So we collected some of the Q&As previously, where I'm going to talk with Wolf1 to answer your questions that you guys had. So let's get right into it. The first question was any updates on hacking. 해킹에 관련한 업데이트가 뭐 있을까요?
네, 정식 오픈 시점에서는 일단은 저희는 솔로와 듀오를 먼저 일단 되돌리는 게 제일 먼저라고 생각을 하고 있고, 이후에 이제 각 모드들이 다시 돌아온 후에는 해킹이 가장 잘 어울리는 모드에 를 위해서 만들어질 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
For now, on official release or official launch, our biggest priority will still be getting back solo and duos into a place where we want them. But once we get that done, we'll find which mode is the most, fitting for the hacking condition and then work from there. So the next question is, will there be a new map or mode outside Cobalt? 코발트 외에 새로운 맵이나 모드를 준비한 게 있을까요?
지금은 이제 루미아 섬을 배경으로 한 사실상 어떤 새로운 모드에 가까운 모드가 될 거라서 솔로와 듀오가 그래서 그게 저희 일단 우선순위인 것 같습니다.
Once again, our priority after official launch will be on getting solo and duo, which will act like a whole new mode once they're out. So, will there be a PvE related to the lore? Was the next question. 시나리오 관련해서 PvE 같은 이제 콘텐츠를 낼 생각이 있으신지?
네, 튜토리얼과 튜토리얼에 저희가 컷신을 넣으면서 이제 이런 부분들을 시작했는데 이후에도 좀 튜토리얼을 더 확대할 계획이 있고요. 선택형 튜토리얼이라고 해서 안 해도 되지만 하면은 재밌는 그런 튜토리얼을 추가할 거고, 그런 방식으로 계속 하다 보면 PvE 컨텐츠들이 늘어날 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
We want to start developing from the tutorials we have now, and we want to keep adding on to them. Tutorials won't be mandatory for them to do, but it'll be fun and it'll be entertaining for them to do. And as we develop, it may be a good chance for maybe a PvE in the future. The next question was a new Black Survival IP game. 블랙 서바이벌 IP를 사용해서 게임을 이제 새로 만들 계획이 있는지 물어보신 것 같네요.
네, 저희 팀은 이터널 리턴만을 지금 만들고 있고, 이제 와일드 파이터 키우기라고 다른 게임들이 이렇게 나왔지만 이제 저희가 진행을 한 부분은 아니어서 사실 저도 잘 모르는 부분들이 있고요. 정식 런칭이 잘 되면은 이후에는 또 새로운 게임들을 생각해 볼 수 있을 것 같습니다.
We'll first have to see how the official launch goes. We do have another IP game with Wildfighter Idol, but that's developed completely separately, so we actually don't have much idea on it or any information on it that much. But yeah, we'll have to see how the official launch goes first. The next question is user customization, please. 유저 커스터마이제이션 관련해서 물어보신 것 같은데요.
네, 단기적으로는 가장 중요하고 좋은 방안이라고 생각을 합니다. 이 포트나이트 2 같은 게임들이 이런 부분에서 이제 어떻게 이 유저 커스터마이제이션을 할 수 있는 모딩을 할 수 있는 툴들을 제공했을 때 게임이 훨씬 더 다채로워질 수 있는 걸 보여줬고, 저희도 그런 부분들을 꼭 하고 싶은데 다만 이제 이 시간이 좀 많이 걸리는 부분이 아닐까라고 생각합니다.
We really do believe that user customization is important, and you can see games such as Fortnite that have a lot of customizations work in their business model, but it does take a lot of resources, so we're going to be working on it, and even if you do, it's going to be quite a lot of work. Will the roadmap be shown again post 1.0?
네, 곧바로는 아니더라도 저희가 준비가 되는 대로 다시 로드맵을 시작할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Yes, once we get the official launch going, we'll start the roadmap back again. Will we get new big features after 1.0 in the same pace as early access?
그렇지는 않을 것 같고, 저희가 좀 더 새로운 피처들을 이후에는 새로운 피처들이 들어갈 때에는 기존에 있는 이제 피처들을 조금 덜어내면서 이미 충분히 좀 복잡한 게임이기 때문에 복잡성을 더 늘리지는 않는 방향이 필요할 것 같고, 두 번째로는 어떤 새로운 피처들을 계속 준비는 하겠지만 좀 더 많은 시간을 들여서 준비를 해서 완성도 있는 피처들을 준비를 할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
once we officially launch, we won't have new features added as fast as we did in early access, but we will continue organizing what we have so far, as our game isn't that easy already. But once we do get ready for new features, we'll make sure it's polished and better than ever. Also, I see a lot of you guys have questions in the chat already, but we'll do another chat Q&A afterwards, so just wait a bit. Next question is, simple characters are too rewarding. 간단한 캐릭터들이 너무 강력하다라는 생각이 있으신가
네네.
봐요.
이번에 그 캐릭터 개선을 통해서 비교적 좀 단순한 플레이가 단순했던 캐릭터들에게 조금 타이밍을 새로운 좀 타이밍을 잘 해야 된다던가 이제 이 약간의 더 컨트롤을 할 수 있는 요소들을 좀 이렇게 넣은 편이고 앞으로도 이런 개선들은 좀 있을 것 같고 다만 이제 매치메이킹 그러니까 저희가 조금 더 게임이 성장을 해서 사람 매칭이 많아지고 더 비슷한 사람들이 게임을 플레이를 하게 되면은 이런 부분들도 좀 더 많이 드러나고 더 해결될 수 있을 거라고 생각을 하는데 실제로 이제 대회 같은 경우에는 이런 단순한 캐릭터들이 아주 잘 활약하지는 못하는 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 그런 부분들도 있을 것 같습니다.
So simple characters with the character reworks or the revamps that we have had, we've added different aspects to them, and they actually have to utilize them well to be as rewarding. And we've seen simple characters sometimes not be rewarded as easily, especially in tournament scenes. So we'll have to see how it goes, especially once we have a more solid player base and more similar ranked players can play against each other. TTK is too short. Wolf 1 told me to meow for you guys. Meow. So the next question is TTK is too short.
아, 네. 이런 부분도 네. TTK는 더 다양해질 것 같습니다. 그 스쿼드 모드로 변하면서 탱킹 쪽이 좀 더 많이 탱킹 아이템이나 탱킹 캐릭터들이 많이 그 개선되면서 그 딜러와 딜러가 만났을 때는 좀 더 TTK가 짧을 수도 있지만 그 탱커와 탱커가 만났을 때는 많이 늘어날 수 있는 부분 이런 부분들이 이제 솔로에서는 그런 버티기 메타 때문에 좀 못했던 부분들이 스쿼드에서는 충분히 구현될 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So in solos, we've had a rough time controlling TTK, especially because a lot of the times there'll be builds that are overly tanky and they just kind of route around for placement sometimes. But as we approach the squads, meta, we'll have more verse TTK depending on if they're a DPS focused character or if they are a tank. So if a player actually builds tanky or if they are choosing like a tankier character, they will be able to experience longer TTK. Whereas in a fight with shorter TTK of DPS versus DPS, they'll, have shorter TTK. I think I said that wrong, but I hope you guys understand. All right. So next question was, balance patches are too often. Please slow down.
네, 이 부분도 동의하는 부분이고요. 그 정식 오픈 이후에는 조금 더 그러니까 많은 잦은 밸런스 패치가 상위권 플레이어들에게는 조금 더 도움이 될 수 있지만 이 부분 때문에 피로감을 느끼는 분들이 굉장히 많이 있었고 정식 오픈 이후에는 조금 더 슬로우 다운된 조금 더 느려진 2주에 한 번만 딱 진행되는 이런 형태가 될 것 같습니다.
Yeah. So we agree that the balance patches are too often at the moment and it changes the game a lot. But it was part of something that we needed to address, the Legos that I talked about previously. We needed to build and add on to the game to what we have right now to build depth. But once the official launch is settled, we'll make sure to control our pace. Next question was, will battle zones be addressed soon? 전장 관련 질문이네요.
네.
네, 맞습니다.
네. 전장은 이번에는 정식 오픈에는 이제 숫자가 줄어들고 한 번만 나오게 되고 전장 보상이 이제 전장만의 특별한 보상이 아니라 일반적인 보상 특수 아이템으로 바뀌면서 다른 오브젝트와 비슷한 하나의 이 오브젝트로 이렇게 바뀌는 이런 종류의 변화들이 있을 것 같고 전장 내부 로직들은 아마 좀 더 그 다음 시즌을 기다려야 될 것 같습니다.
So battle zones will be changed in the upcoming season to only happen once a game, and not only that, you don't get legendary or mythic items from battle zones anymore, but you will actually get materials that you can get for special materials or even the tactical skill module. We'll keep working on the battle zones as the seasons continue, and there will no I hope that answered the question. It was a pretty open question, but we hope it helped. So the next question was, will balance patches still be based on statistics? 통계 패치를 추후에도 할 예정인지
네,
물어보시네요.
통계는 통계에 의해서 하는 것 이외에는 사실 다른 대안이 많지는 않은 것 같습니다. 게임 플레이도 많이 하고 있고 이 상위권 플레이어들의 이 플레이를 많이 모니터링하지만 이제 그런 부분들에 의해서 자의적으로 하는 부분들에 비해서 통계가 좀 더 공정성을 가지고 있다고 생각을 하고 다만 이제 통계를 어떻게 보느냐가 언제나 문제인 것 같고 그런 부분에서 문제점들을 계속 고쳐야 되는 부분일 것 같긴 합니다. 예를 들어 이제 이 한국에서는 월요일 오후 2시까지의 데이터를 주로 그 통계에 반영한다라는 이제 루머가 있었는데 그래서 저희가 그런 부분에 대응하기 위해서 통계 반영 시점도 매번 할 때마다 조금씩 바꾸고 있습니다. 이런 식으로 이제 문제가 생겨 나오는 부분들을 계속해서 좀 고쳐 나갈 생각입니다.
We still believe that statistics is the best way to approach how to start balancing. However, it matters more on how we actually look at the statistics and how we control the characters based on the statistics. But, we've had rumors in Korea of how the balance team looks at or when they look at the statistics, so people try to control it. But the balance team does make exceptions, or not exceptions, but they do make changes that are very different and they are flexible on how they do the balancings as well. All right, hold up. So we're going to go on a break really quickly. We'll be back right away to answer the remaining questions. And after we do so, we'll do open questions as well. All right, we'll be back.
I can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. I'm reaching for something out of line. I keep getting closer. I'll need to have it all ripped away. There is something in my body deep down, and I'm hoping that it won't stay. 'Cause I'm a monster, blood on my hands, sharp teeth, and I wanna be free. And so you better not make me mad, or I'll hunt you down. I will never let you go or escape me. Please don't leave me, it will kill me. I don't wanna be alone, and so I'll follow you home. I guess that I'm not good on my own. Come with me, come with me. I wanna take you home now. Come with me, come with me. No one else will know what I've done. Oh, what have I done? Tears cleaning up the blood. Come to me, come to me. What have we got? 3, 2, 1. Can't keep going on. Day and night, wanna see you run. Moon and sun, hiding in the darkness, my safe place. There is something in my body, and I'm letting it lead the way. Come, come, come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come, come, come with me. I think this is a felony. You got me captivated. I'll take every part of you. Come, come, in your bloodshed. One hit is never enough. More are dead. I'm a fire on your flesh. Try to stop me, you're next, and I won't stop. Another drop. Come, come, come with me. I know this is my destiny. Come, come, come with me. I think this is a felony. You got me captivated. I'll take every part of you. Come, come, come with me. The monster in me needs to feed. I can't keep going on. The pain inside my chest gets worse sometimes. Everything is wrong. Everything is wrong.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. A little bit of a hiccup in the middle. But yeah, let's continue with the Q&A that you guys had for us. One of the question was, will tactical skills be adjusted if needed?
네, 이 부분은 그 이제 플레이를 해보시면서 많은 피드백을 주시면 저희가 전술 스킬을 12가지를 내기 때문에 그 중에서 좀 리턴 리턴과 맞지 않다 이런 부분들이 있다면은 충분히 조정될 수 있는 부분인 것 같습니다.
So yes, tactical skills will be adjusted once official launch hits and you guys give us feedback. And if the gameplay doesn't fit the game that we want, and you guys want, then we'll be open to making adjustments to tactical skills. The next question was, third partying and matchups are too tiring. 상성이랑 그 하이에나가 좀 약간 너무 피곤하다라는 말이 있으셨네요.
네. 그 상성에 대한 부분은 사실 좀 더 솔로 모드에 이제 주로 그 나오는 문제인 부분인 것 같고, 하이에나에 대한 부분들은 저희도 이제 많이 계속해서 이 작은 노력들을 쌓아야 되는 부분인 것 같습니다. 저희 장르가 어떤 그런 부분들을 아예 없앨 수는 없는 부분들인데, 예를 들어 이번에는 그 위성 레이더가 그 나올 때 하이퍼루프를 일시적으로 그 15초 정도에 이동하지 못하게 막는 게 들어가는데, 이제 이런 식으로 이런 하이에나가 벌어질 수 있는 상황들을 더 줄일 수 있는, 그리고 오브젝트 숫자도 늘리고 맵도 넓어지고 이제 이런 부분들로 이렇게 조금씩 덜 나올 수 있도록 하는 게 중요한 것 같습니다.
So first of all, we hope the matchup issue is a bit more elevated with the squad approach. But regarding third partying, it's something that's very common in the genre of Battle Royale, and it's really hard to fully resolve. But we're going to be making some adjustments to slowly but surely elevate the issue, such as not being able to hyperloop right after when the satellite radar comes out. So you can't just see a team fighting and just teleport on top of them. We're making more objectives, so players won't be focused on one area for so much, nor do they even have to go to the objectives. And we're also making it so that the map is bigger and players have more space to run or get away if they need to from third party. So the next question was, can we see infusions at result screen? 코발트에서 인퓨전 끝났을 때 볼 수 있는지 물어보시네요.
이 부분은 이 추후에 진행을 할 수 있는 부분이라고 생각을 하지만, 이번 에는 코발트의 경우에 많은 업데이트가 이루어지지 못해서 추후에 진행될 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So this question was regarding seeing infusions at Cobalt, but for now we were focusing on Lumia Island for official launch, so we weren't able to make that many big changes to Cobalt. But in the future, we want to make sure that we can approach it. So the next question is, will there be ranked Cobalt?
저희는 사실 코발트에 대해서는 지금보다 조금 더 캐주얼한 방향으로 좀 더 편하게 즐길 수 있는 방향으로 생각을 하고 있고, 랭크 쪽으로는 생각을 하지 않고 있습니다.
The answer is no. We want to approach Cobalt in a lot more casual way than we do from the other game mode. So the next question is, Will there be a Cobalt tutorial? 튜토리얼을 코발트 위해서
네, 코발트의 튜토리얼은 필요한 부분이라고 생각을 하고 저희가 확충해야 될 튜토리얼 중에 하나라고 생각을 하고 있는데 네, 튜토리얼은 일반적으로 이 기존 게임과는 좀 다른 거의 새로운 이제 모드를 만드는 정도의 이 노력과 시간이 들어가기 때문에 시간이 조금 더 많이 필요할 것 같습니다.
Yes, we do think there is a requirement or a need for a tutorial for Cobalt, but it is a lot of resource, almost to as much as creating a new game mode. So it will take us a bit of a time. Can the RNG aspect of Cobalt be tuned down?
네, 아마 인퓨전이 아니라 저기 이번에 그 정식 오픈을 시작할 때 그 확정 보급 전설 확정 보급 상태일 때 이 스킬 증폭만 3개가 나온다던가 이런 상황들을 막는 내부 로직을 추가했고 이 부분에 대해서는 좀 더 추후에는 아예 이 확정 보급에 대해서는 모든 전설 부위의 모든 전설 중에서 고를 수 있도록 이제 개선을 할 생각이고 이런 식으로 일단은 장비가 랜덤으로 지급되는 부분에 대해서 조금씩 개선을 해 나가고 만약에 그래도 부족하다면 인퓨전에도 그렇게 해보려고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 우선은 내 장비 먼저인 것 같습니다.
We are going to be reducing some of the RNG aspects in Cobalt. So the first approach that we're going to be doing is through the equipment drafting. And at the moment, you can actually get 3, let's say, skill lamp items as a attack power character or a build. But that won't happen anymore. We'll make sure that you can actually have more selection or more diverse selection on your legendary draft. And in the future, we'll actually have it so perhaps that players can actually get any of their choice from the legendary equipment. And if that's not enough, in the future, we'll also look at infusion. But for now, we're going to start with the equipment aspect. Please reduce the animal macro aspect of Cobalt was the next question. 동물이랑 그런 거 관련 운영을 좀 더 최소화해달라고 하시는 것 같네요.
네, 야생동물 운영이 코발트에서 이제 코발트를 어렵게 만드는 이유 중에 하나라고 생각을 하고 있고 이제 곰을 맵 중앙부로 가져와서 곰을 두고 좀 더 그 중앙부 싸움을 할 수 있게 하는 형태 그리고 지금 너무 좀 구석에 있는 늑대나 이런 부분들도 조금 더 이 기존의 곰 위치 이런 식으로 좀 더 약간 더 이제 이 자연스러운 동선에 들어갈 수 있도록 동물들을 재배치하는 거를 목표로 하고 있고요. 근데 이 부분도 정식 오픈 때는 아니고 그 이후에 아마 진행될 수 있을 것 같습니다.
We also agree that the animal macro aspect of Cobalt is not natural at the moment, and we're hoping to work on it later on, such as moving away from what the early contest for the bears to more focus on the center fight, and moving some of the corner wolves that are awkward to be more natural in pathing and more intuitive for players as well. But as we said, we mostly had to focus on the official launch and Lumia Island for now, but we will look into it as time goes. So the next question was, will characters get further reworks down the road? 추후에도 그 캐릭터 리메이크 관련 얘기인 것 같은데요.
네. 이제 저희가 이번에 진행했던 캐릭터 개선과 같은 정도의 규모로 아예 예전에 그 피오라처럼 완전히 스킬이 싹 바뀌어서 완전히 새로운 캐릭터가 된다라는 느낌을 가지는 부분들은 좀 잘 하지 않겠지만 이제 한두 개의 스킬을 좀 더 바꿔서 캐릭터의 재미있는 판타지를 더 늘릴 수 있다면은 그런 부분들은 계속해서 진행할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Well, we won't be getting, or we'll try not to have as big of a remake or rework as the Fiora rework that we originally had. We will look into, and we are open to, changing a bit of a character to actually amplify the character fantasy if it helps. So the next question was, will characters get new weapons after launch?
네, 제가 이제 번역해 주시기 전에 대답하는 걸 보고 오해를 하셔서 쉬운 영어는 저도 이제 읽을 수 있어서 캐릭터 무기는 저희가 스킬 증폭과 기본 공격 증폭으로 좀 플레이 계열이 많이 나뉘게 됐는데 어떤 실험체는 이제 그러면서 다른 한쪽을 못 쓰게 되는 부분들이 있는데 이 무기를 추가해서 양쪽을 다 쓸 수 있게 되는 경우들이 있으면 그런 부분은 무기를 좀 적극적으로 추가를 해보려고 합니다.
Well, first of all, Wolf wanted to say it's not pre-recorded and he can actually understand English to an extent. So, I don't always have to translate all the questions. That's but answering the question, he said upon launch, a lot of the characters that have been using either attack and skill lamp and characters that have been able to use both, it's going to be a lot harder once the game is officially launched and we rework some of the systems. But for characters that are not able to do that due to lack of having multiple weapons, we are open to making different weapons for them. So, will there be more skins based from Black Survival?
네. 그 기존 원작에서 이제 이 좋은 스킨들은 저희도 많이 가져오고 싶은데 컷터뷰에서 이제 스킨의 특징이 보일 수 있는 스킨과 그렇지 않은 스킨들이 있어서 주로 이제 그런 컷터뷰에서 잘 예쁘게 표현될 수 있는 스킨들 위주로 가져올 생각입니다.
Yes, but it will all depend as well. If the skin is actually really well fitting and we can aesthetically present it in a mobile format, then we are, very open to bringing skins from Black Survival IP. So the next question is Lauren ER. 시나리오 관련해서 문의인데요. 혹시 어떻게 이제 정출 후에 풀어나갈지 그런 거 좀 도와주시면 좋을 것 같아요.
네. 앞서 이제 저희가 이 인트로 영상을 이렇게 트레일러를 이렇게 잠깐 보여드렸었는데 튜토리얼에서 컷신이라던가 이게 좀 전에 보여드렸던 인트로라던가 이런 식으로 조금씩 이제 이 작은 이야기들부터 캐릭터와 캐릭터 사이의 작은 이야기들로부터 시작하려고 하고 아마 이제 그 저희의 정식 오픈 이후에 다음 목표는 실험일지 그 전작에도 있었던 실험일지와 같은 형태로 이야기들을 조금 더 푸는 게 지금 현재의 목표입니다.
Well, you guys saw like the animation beforehand, and we have the tutorials in the game at the moment. We're going to be slowly releasing interactions between characters and small details like that to kind of give you guys a hint and tell a little bit of the story that we have going on for our characters in Eternal Return. Yeah. 다음은 marketing direction. 이거는
네. 네.
So for the marketing direction, especially for non-KR regions, we will be doing our best with the funds we have, and the direction that we have settled for now is we want to approach the casual player base at the beginning, especially with the new player base that is hopefully going to come from official release. But we are trying our best. We really are trying. Just give us a bit more time. We're going to be slowly but gradually working on the marketing for non-KR regions. And for the esports aspects, we're going to be continuing the esports in the Western regions and the non-Korean regions, but we're going to be doing it in mainly a more casual way as well, for now at least, upon launch. All right. So the next question that you guys had, and I bundled them into one because you guys had a lot of questions regarding optimization. Yeah, 최적화 관련한 건데요.
네.
혹시 제가 설명할까요? 네.
이건데 네네.
설명해.
네. 그 최적화는 저희의 가장 이제 중요한 목표 중에 하나였고 그동안 이제 여러 가지 많은 작업들을 해서 그 내부에서 프레임이라든지 메모리, VRAM 사용량 같은 경우를 계속 좀 추적하고 있는 중인데 여기서 빨간색 선이 지금 현재 저희 이제 이 준비 중인 빌드이고 그 노란색과 파란색이 이 라이브로 이렇게 있는 빌드여서 이 평균적인 프레임이 확실히 조금 올라가서 이런 부분들에 대해서는 조금 기대해 주셔도 될 것 같고 다만 이제 프레임이랑 메모리 같은 경우에는 서로 그 상반되는 이 트레이드오프 관계가 좀 있어서 예를 들어 이제 메모리 사용량이 좀 더 늘어나면 프레임도 늘어날 수 있는 이런 이제 구조가 있어서 이런 부분들에 대한 조율을 좀 계속 하고 있습니다.
Okay, I'll try my best to explain. But For optimization, especially regarding frames, you can see the graph here. The blue and yellow is the live client that we have for Eternal Return and the average frames that you get during playtime. The red one is what we have so far on frame reports on our test build. And this is with the 24 players. So you can definitely see some increase in optimizations for official release, and you guys can be excited about that. There is a bit of a tricky balancing job, as the more frames we can grant you guys, the more stress it puts on the memory aspect. So we're trying to fine tune the balance between memory and frame at the moment. So the next question was regarding the mouse cursor bug. Oh, I see. This is when sometimes you spawn in and you don't have the right mouse cursor.
네. 저희가 이제 많은 버그 수정을 이번 시즌 9 기간 동안에는 거의 잘 못했었고, 원래는 패치마다 이제 50개 정도의 버그를 수정을 하는데 이번 시즌은 이제 소스 프리징을 이유로 많은 버그를 수정을 못했었고, 여러 가지 버그들을, 오래된 버그들을 찾아서 수정하고 있는 중입니다. 다만 이제 재현이 잘 안 되는 버그들 같은 경우에는 굉장히 조건을 찾기도 좀 어렵고, 수정을 했다고 생각을 하고 의심되는 부분을 수정을 했는데 이게 수정됐는지 안 됐는지를 확인할 수도 없는 상황이어서 이 마우스 커서버 같은 경우에는 내부적으로 수정된 의심 부분을 수정을 했고 완료된 줄 알았는데 이제 2, 3일 전에 새로 다시 좀 발견돼서 지금 또 다시 원인을 찾고 있는 중입니다. 죄송합니다.
So regarding bugs, we weren't able to address as many as we usually do this season due to preparation, but for official launch, we've been working on fixing a lot of the bugs that we've had previously. The hardest bugs to fix in general are bugs that we can't replicate because we can't find the reason and the cause for these bugs. And the mouse cursor bug specifically, we actually had solved it for a long time in our playtest, but it recently came back during the playtest. So we're looking back into it and we apologize for that. The next question is game queues and getting left out, especially after dodge.
네.
이거 관련 얘기인 것 같아요.
예, 요 매칭이 예를 들어 이게 이 가로줄이 티어라고 했을 때 제일 높은 티어, 그 다음 티어, 세 번째 티어, 네 번째 티어, 다섯 번째 티어 이렇게 티어별로 나눠져 있을 때 이제 이 왼쪽에 범위가 잘못됐는데 처음에는 이렇게 위로 네 티어가 같이 잡혀서 만약에 이게 15명이라고 치고 잡혔다가 이제 한 분이 나가시고 이제 위에는 한 명이 모자라서 잡힐 수 없는 상황이 됐는데 이제 아래쪽에 새로운 분들이 와서 요것도 좀 잘못됐는데 요렇게 네 티어가 잡히면은 이제 요 제일 위에 계시던 분은 같이 게임을 하지 못하게 되는 요런, 그래서 요런 경우들이 대부분입니다. 네, 그래서 이제 이 매칭이 요렇게 잡혔다가 매칭 범위가 요렇게 바뀌면서 이게 제일 위에 계시던 분이 티어가 제일 높았던 분이 나간다거나 그 반대의 경우도 있지만 보통은 이제 티어 낮은 쪽이 사람이 많기 때문에 제일 높은 쪽이 그렇게 튕겨 나가는 경우들이 좀 있는 것 같습니다.
So this instance, to explain it, happens mostly and mainly to higher ranked players. It does happen in the lower tiers, but it's mainly when, for say, this is like the brackets of the players or the teams, and originally this was supposed to start a game together, but the dodge happens, and the dodge happens to be another high ranked player, and once a lower ranked player in the lower bracket joins into the queue, this lobby starts, and now that there's no other high ranked player to start the queue or get the lobby going with the top ranked player, they get left out, and that's what's been happening. And hopefully we can address this issue as we go on and have a more solid player base with similar MMR. All right, so the next question is Battlezone timer bug. 전장 타이머 버그 관련.
네, 이 부분은 그래도 재현 조건을 찾아서 저희가 수정을 했고 다만 이제 소스 프리징 때문에 올리지 못했고 정식 오픈에는 고쳐서 나갈 겁니다.
So this is regarding how sometimes you have the Battlezone timer above your head even though you're not in a Battlezone, and this has actually been solved. We just couldn't put it in yet because we were freezing the code for official launch, but on official launch it won't happen. The next question is random sounds effects.
네, 이 부분도 가장 이제 재현이 잘 안 되는 어떤 조건, 그러니까 나오는데 어떤 조건에서 나오는지 잘 알 수가 없는 그 부분이고, 이 부분은 아직 저희가 해결하지 못했고 이 간간이 발생하는 걸 저희도 확인하고 있는데 최대한 이제 어떤 조건에서 발생하는지를 찾으려고 노력하고 있습니다. 죄송합니다.
This is also another bug where we can't really fully replicate it. So we know that it's happening and we're looking into it as much as we can. But at the moment, we're having a hard time solving it. So we apologize. Pathfinding issues. 그 길 걸을 때 갑자기 이상하게 갈 때 있잖아요. 네.
패스파인딩은 그 이제 저희가 쿼터뷰 게임이어서 이 약간 그 기울어져 보는 각도가 약간 30도 이렇게 좀 각도가 있다 보니까 일반적으로 이제 벽 위를 조금이라도 이제 벽을 넘어가면은 벽 너머가 찍혀서 이제 그쪽으로 이동하게 되는 문제가 있는데 이 부분은 대부분의 이제 쿼터뷰 게임이 공유하는 문제고 사실 어떤 기술적인 부분 이전에 논리적으로 해결이 좀 어려운 부분이라고 생각을 합니다. 근데 그래서 이 부분을 해결하기 위해서는 벽을 좀 두껍게 만들거나 벽 뒤에 이제 의자 같은 걸 좀 배치해서 그런 그 완화시키는 방법들을 그 사용해야 될 것 같고 실제로 이제 유저 제보들이 이 지역에서 그런 문제들이 많이 생겨요라는 부분들이 들어오면 이번에도 병원 쪽에 그런 것들을 하나 수정을 했었는데 그렇게 수정을 하기도 합니다. 이 코발트 같은 경우들이 이게 진짜 많이 생기는데 벽이 얇고 높아서 코발트 같은 경우에는 전체적으로 좀 지형을 좀 더 바꿔줘야 되는 부분이 될 것 같습니다.
So the pathfinding issues where you try to walk in a direction but suddenly your character is headed a different way. This is actually a pretty fairly common issue found in MOBA games, especially MOBA games with thin walls, as when the collision happens, it sometimes just directs you in a different way. And there isn't really like a technical way that we can fix this, same as the other MOBA games. But there is a way that we can kind of address it, which is one, make the walls thicker, or put some kind of objects behind the wall. So when a player reports that there's been a lot of pathfinding issues specifically, we've had cases where we actually put something behind that wall, so the pathfinding is not as bad. All right, and this was all the collected Q&As we've had so far. So we're gonna go into an open Q&A session. If you guys have any questions for me or Wolf1, feel free to ask in chat, and yeah, we'll get right into it. Oh, hello. I'm back. All right. Do you guys have any questions? 정출했을 때 이제 솔로 사용자 설정 게임이 가능할지 문의를 주셨네요.
사용자 설정 게임도 안 이렇게 플레이할 수가 없습니다.
Sadly, solo customs will not be available on official launch as well. 니나 키 바인딩에 관련해서 문의를 하고 계시네요. 그 니나를 컨트롤할 수 있는 키가 있잖아요.
네네.
그거를 바인딩을 바꿀 수 있게 설정을 해주실지 물어보고 계시네요.
네, 지금으로서는 이제 아직은 좀 어려울 것 같습니다. 네.
네, 알겠습니다. For now, I think we think it's going to be a bit difficult, but we're working on it.
하지만 좀 방법을 찾을 수 있도록 노력해 보겠습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. Do you keep solo rank borders? 해가지고 솔로를 통해서 이터니티 보상이나 그런 이제 테두리를 받았을 때 어떻게 되는지 한번 물어보시네요.
네, 당장에는 그 부분을 스쿼드에서 사용할 수 있게 되고요. 추후에 또 다시 솔로 모드가 돌아왔을 때는 각 모드에서도 또 사용할 수 있게 할 예정입니다.
We intend to have the borders and icons be usable in squad even if you got it from different mode. Will there be percent in team modes? 스쿼드화가 되면서도 그 퍼센트 데미지나 그런 게 있을지 물어보시네요. 퍼뎀이나 그 밭뎀 그런 거 있잖아요.
그러니까 어떤 캐릭터 스킬의 피처로서 퍼센트 그러니까 상대방 체력에 비례해서 보상내 뭔가에 비례해서 준다 이런 의미라면은 그런 부분들은 계속 있을 것 같고 아니면 보정치를 물어보시는 건지?
네, 보정치 관련해서.
아, 보정치는 이제 스쿼드로 되면서 이제 사용하지 않게 됩니다.
네, 알겠습니다. So yes, as we move on to squad, we will no longer have specific character percentages, and we'll be able to have the whole natural, actual just damage. Can make simple hero for new players. 신규 유저를 위해서 좀 더 간단한 캐릭터들을 만들 수 있는지 문의해 주셨네요.
네, 그 주로 비교적 좀 쉽게 조작할 수 있는 탱커나 서포터 형태의 그 캐릭터들이 좀 더 만들어질 거고, 지금 있는 캐릭터들도 그 스쿼드에서는 좀 더 잘 활용될 수 있을 것 같습니다. 더 쉬운 캐릭터들이 조금 더 활용의 여지들이 많이 생길 것 같습니다.
We do have plans for the future, especially regarding the different archetypes of characters. And we're going to make sure that the simpler characters can actually also have a place to stand in the team mode squad. So people are asking about cadet skins. 혹시 예전 사관 스킨들을 또 받을 수 있을지 문의해 주시네요.
그 예전에 이제 이벤트나 한정 판매됐던 스킨들은 모두 새로 도입되는 제작소에서 이 상자를 통해서 얻을 수 있게 되는데, 이제 유일하게 사관 스킨 같은 경우는 좀 의미가 다르다고 생각합니다. 그거는 시즌 1에 시즌 2에 시즌 3에 그때 당시에 이제 저희와 같이 했던 게임을 해주셨던 분들의 추억이라고 생각을 해서 그 부분들은 다시 내지는 않으려고 생각합니다.
잠시만요. Sorry, guys. 죄송해요. 다시 한 번만 얘기해 줄 수 있을까요? 제가 채팅을
네.
잘 기억했어요. So we'll be getting a lot of the limited skins back, or skins that you can't get in store anymore, and you can get them through the Ford system. But unfortunately, cadets, due to the promises we made before to our player base, we're at the moment not going to be having them accessible for other players. Okay. Other questions? Also, for questions regarding specific characters, they're mostly going to be addressed in character dev journals, or it's a bit hard to answer for us right now. So sorry about that. Is Mithril Plus really going to be solos only for ranked? 이제 미스릴 플러스에서 사전 매칭이 안 되는 거에 대해서 문의를 하는데 그게 사실일까요?
네, 지금 최초의 계획은 그렇습니다. 저희 이 부분에 대해서는 아마 저희도 이 새로운 랭크 시스템을 처음 하다 보니까 많은 시행착오가 있을 거라고 생각을 하고, 이 다른 게임들의 사례를 연구해봐도 이제 사전 구성을 허용했다가 금지했다가 허용했다가 금지했다 이렇게 좀 많이 정책을 바꾸더라고요. 저희도 좀 해봐야 될 것 같은데, 가장 이상적으로는 사전 구성팀이 무로만 하는 랭크, 자유 랭크와 이제 완전히 혼자서 하는 랭크가 구분되는 게 제일 좋다고 생각을 하는데, 그거는 이제 매칭풀이 허락해야 될 것 같고, 만약에 그렇게 준비는 해놓고 있지만 일단 처음에는 미스릴 이상은 혼자서만 돌릴 수 있게 하는 걸 목표로 절충안으로 좀 잡고 있습니다.
네. So to repeat and remind, the question was regarding matchmaking and queuing up for squad, especially once you're higher rank or Mithril Plus. And in the future, we want to have it, or we're still in discussion of it, but in the future, we would want it to have enough player base to have either pre-made or solo queue squad. But at the moment, on official launch, our discussion so far, this is subject to change, is if you're Mithril Plus, you will have to solo queue into squad. And after we've looked at other games and so far, it seems like a needed change. So that's all we'll be doing for now. Will our region require 24 players to pop a queue, or will we be able to pop like an 18-player lobby? 지금도 18명이 아니어도 큐가 시작할 수가 있잖아요. 혹시 추후에도 24명이 아니어도 큐가 시작할 수 있을지
네,
궁금해
네,
주시네요.
그렇습니다. 그거는 이 24명은 반드시 다 모아야 되지만은 않게 할 예정입니다.
Yes, we won't be requiring 24 players. There'll be an option as we do now to pop without everyone involved. Will seasons be continuing onto 10, or will it start with this new season 1 or something entirely for the 1.0 launch?
시즌 1으로 시작할 겁니다. 네.
We'll be starting with season 1. Will there be bots and lobbies? 봇 관련 얘기인 것 같은데요.
네, 네.
로비에 봇이 있을지 일반에서.
일반 대전에서는 그 봇들이 포함될 수 있습니다. 특히 일반 대전 중에서는 낮은 레벨 때에서는 좀 더 포함될 수 있습니다.
네. Regarding bots, there will be some bots in normals, especially for the lower MMR and norms, but not in ranked. Asking from EOS, will we have enough Duke squad server available always, or is there not enough player base here? 그거 물어보는 거네요. 지금은 해외 쪽에서는 이제 24시간 랭크가 안 열려 있거든요. 스쿼드나 그런 거에 관련해서. 정식 출시 때는 다 풀로 열지를 물어봤는데요. 다 열 거라고 말해도 될까요?
네, 아마 모드 숫자가 좀 줄어드는 만큼 그 모드 숫자가 줄어드는 건 정말 안타까운 일이지만 이제 매치메이킹에 있어서는 좀 더 이제 그런 부분에서 제약이 좀 사라지지 않을까라고 생각하고 있습니다.
Yes. Once the official launch hits, we'll be able to actually open up ranked for 24 hours, 7 days a week. We're actually getting rid of more than 50% of our modes, which is quite unfortunate. But because of that, we'll be able to funnel our player base into one ranked mode. So we'll be opening up squad for 24/7.
이게 다만 여기 또 추가로 SA에 대한 질문도 주셨는데 아마 SA까지 그렇게 될 수 있을지는 좀 잘 모를 것 같고 근데 막 이게 이 랭크가 열려 있지만 돌아가지 않는 상황도 그리 좋지는 않아서 각 서버별로 좀 이렇게 매칭 풀을 좀 보기는 해야 될 것 같습니다. 네.
But we will keep a close observation. So if a server is not able to successfully have a 24/7 ranked situation going on, then we'll of course make adjustments that are needed, especially for communities or servers that are not as populated.
네, 아까 또 이제 번역을 계속해서 커뮤니티 번역을 할 거냐라는 질문이 있었는데
네네.
네네. 그 저희가 이제 모두 14개 언어 16개 언어를 지원하고 있는데 이제 그 모든 언어를 직접 번역할 수는 없어서 일부 이제 커뮤니티에 의존하는 부분들도 있고 저희가 직접 하고 있는 부분들도 있고 또 일부 언어 같은 경우는 내부에서도 하지만 모자라서 이제 좀 더 추가적인 부분에 대해서는 이렇게 도움을 받고 있는데 네. 아마 이 부분에 대해서는 이제 크게 바로 바뀌지는 못할 것 같지만 점점 더 이제 더 좋은 번역을 할 수 있도록 계속 노력을 하겠습니다.
So this is regarding some of the translations issues or translation questions that was in chat. And at the moment, we actually have a lot of languages that are available and a lot of translations that are available. But the thing is that it's a lot of languages that we're covering, so we won't be able to fully, translate all of the languages that are available. But later on, as we go, we hope that we can build up more on more. It's a lot of translation work. It's a lot of things that needs to be addressed. Aya and Jackie themes as lobby music. 아야 테마송이랑 제키 테마송을 로비 음악으로 변경할 수 있을지 물어보시는 것 같아요.
네, 그 부분에 대해서는 저희가 생각을 안 하고 있었는데 좀 의외로 요청해 주시는 플레이어분들이 많아서 한번 그 투두 리스트에 올려놓도록 하겠습니다.
Yes, we'll be adding it to to-do list because it seems like a lot of players actually want it. Are the testers KR only or other regions too? 이번에 테스트를 할 때 한국 유저만 하는 건지 아니면 다른 지역 분들도 할 수 있는지 물어보시네요.
예, 저희 회사 내에서 진행을 해야 되기 때문에 회사에 오실 수 있는 분들만 일부 그리고 저희 내부 직원들이 일단 많이 있고 외부 초청도 이제 회사 내에 직접 오셔서만 할 수 있는 부분은 좀 양해를 부탁드리겠습니다.
Sadly, we're currently doing it only in Korea as we're actually hosting the test at our company HQ. So it has to be someone that can actually come to our office, and that's very restraining for foreign testers. Will there be season packs for the next seasons? 다음 시즌에도 시즌 팩이 있을 건지 물어보시는데요.
네네, 시즌팩이 준비되어 있고 아까 잠깐 보여드린 엠마가 시즌팩 한정 스킨입니다.
Yes, there will be season packs moving forward, and as you saw previously, the Emma will be the additional season pack skin. Will our stats get deleted? 지금이 이제 시즌 1로 시작하니까 그 전 시즌 기록이나 그런 것들 MMR이 삭제될지 물어보시는 것 같아요.
시즌 기록들은 모두 남아 있게 되고 시즌 1도 이번 시즌을 기준으로 소프트 리셋됩니다.
So even though we're starting on season 1, players will still get to keep their records from previous seasons. Also, the MMR will only be soft reset instead of a full reset. All right. It's been a long day and a long time, so we'll take one more question if that's okay with you guys. Hold up. I think my internet has cut off. 배우님 혹시 인터넷 문제 없나요 지금? 지금 되고 있구나.
네.
Sorry about that, guys. My laptop actually lost internet for some reason. Will there be more specific graphic settings outside of low, medium, high, ultra? 추후에는 그래픽 세팅이 좀 더 이제 많은 옵션들이 있을지 물어보시는 것 같아요.
네, 이 부분들은 저희가 좀 여러 가지 작업을 하고 있고 지금 당장에는 로우부터 하이까지의 각각의 옵션들을 이렇게 리디피니션 하려고 하고 있습니다. 그래서 로우 레벨에서도 이전보다 이 라이트 맵이라는 것들이 적용되면서 이전보다 조금 더 퀄리티가 올라가고 뭐 이제 그런 세부적인 조정들을 하고 있고 이런 부분들이 끝나고 나면 그것들을 하나하나의 별도 옵션으로 좀 독립시키는 과정이 진행될 것 같습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. Yes, we will have those options, but later down on the road. For now, our priority is making sure that each settings is as developed as possible, and once we get that settled in, we'll have additional aspects of control that you guys can have. Yeah, okay, that was the last question. Sorry that once again, guys, sorry for the bad news that we had for you guys. Well, Wolf1, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Okay. I'm really sorry to announce the discontinuation of the solo and duo modes. The proportion of solo mode was much larger in NA, EU, and SA, so it will feel like you've lost everything. I'm also a player who loves solo mode, and I would never accept the news that the mode I love is disappearing. If we had made the game better, it would have been different. And this part is my responsibility as a director. I'm sorry again. But the only choice we can make right now are to stop right now or to try again with Scott only. As a developer who loves Eternal Return and as a player, we are working really hard to make Eternal Return a better game. And if the results of the official launching are good, we can start solo and duo again. You might be very angry, but I hope you will play the newly changed Eternal Return at least once. I want to apologize once again for the changes. And I want to say thank you for always being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wolf1. And thank you guys once again for tuning in on your precious times. I'm really honored that I got to be here today and talk to you guys. It's always nerve-wracking, you know. It's always a very little sleep, but yeah, I'm once again, really sorry. I it was heartbreaking when I heard the news as well. So I'm very sad that I am the one that's bearing the bad news for you guys as well. We'll be back, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that by the next time we're back here, we're all smiling and laughing and talking about you know the good news and the updates that we have. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of the season. We'll see you guys again soon. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Good luck escaping my arrow. I'll survive to draw my bow another day. My arrows will reveal the truth.
Bows? What can you do with them?